We have 3 whole newspapers this morning. I feel particularly privileged. The first newspapers of the year, right?
Yeah, and I think these are the most important papers.
Yeah,
and
well,
of course,
yes,
they are the
these
widely circulated papers in the country.
Yes, yes,
Daily
yes.
Guide, Daily Graphic, Ghanian Times.
Which explains why they came out first. I guess
Yes.
they have the infrastructure to get out there before the others, right?
Sure.
After a tough Christmas, in the 90 days of January, they are still poised for business. Anyway, I'm sure the other papers will also make an appearance as the days go by.
At least by Monday, they'll all be
No
out.
doubt, no doubt. It's good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Excellent. Looking all spiffy and, you know.
Hey.
Yes. I wild. All right, so we have the Daily Graphic, the Daily Guide, and of course the Ghanian Times. Now we'll run through the headlines quickly, then we'll settle for a couple of stories. So I'll do these 2, and then Novan, you can do the Ghanian Times. The Daily Guide has these: Muslim youth attack Owusu Bempah's church over death prophecy. This would possibly be the most talked about story in Ghana this morning, and we certainly will talk about it.
Definitely.
Moneybags hijack NDC, Rawlings fumes, and Mahama missing. Stories on page 3 and page 6. I believe they are referring to the 31st December commemoration that was done by Rawlings and some other cadres.
Or their comrades,
cadres,
whatever they will say.
You are comfortable with. Pastor stabbed to death at Tema. This is a story we've been covering for a few days. Baumia thanks God over 40 fulfilled promises. That also is on the front page of the Daily Guide. Daily Graphic has these. Oh, by the way, while we're on the Daily Guide, there's a very funny comic, the usual Akosia comic on page 3, the cartoon strip, and today they have something called the Boom TV Talk Show crossover edition, and it shows some former presidents and of course the current president, very, very clearly depicted, and you can see what's going on. It appears former President Rawlings is hosting this show, and he has set the agenda. He has a list there of things they're going to talk about, and he's asking his guests, who are John Mahama, former President Kufuor, and of course President Kufuor. He's asking them to introduce themselves, and then Opana Bobole Bobo can start.
But I'm wondering the kind of haircut they've given to.
They always give him that haircut. I don't know where it's from. Has he ever had a haircut like that?
I've never seen him with
so
that before.
what are they suggesting?
I don't
or
know.
perhaps they are making a joke about how he refers to himself as the youthful president.
Yeah, maybe
that's what it is.
And then the dead goat, and
fascinating.
You're wondering what exactly they're trying to,
They've really done a good depiction of former President Kufuor.
Yeah.
That looks a lot like him. Anyway, there you go. You can find details of that and more in the Daily Guide. I'll do the Daily Graphic real quick. Owusu Bempah's church attacked. That's the banner headline. Chief Imam calls for calm. Opuni-Frimpong wants an end to doom prophecies. Bishop Kofi appointed Metropolitan Archbishop of Accra, and congestion at DVLA, anticipated electronic registration yet to start. On the back page of the Daily Graphic, former boss donates vehicles to 3 police commands. This is, of course, Mr. Alfred Obing Boating, and he's done this over the Christmas period. Mr. Alfred Obing Boating, of course, is an independently wealthy businessman, and even after his government appointment, he appears to be, doing some benevolent work. So okay. Also, SNIT divests itself of hotels. I have some thoughts on that, but that's it for the Daily Graphic.
Okay, so we move to the Ghanaian Times this morning, and on the front page of the Ghanaian Times, President launches National Cathedral fundraising campaign. So that tells you that, they're still going ahead. Remember, he said that was a promise he made to God.
Well, that's what Archbishop Duncan Williams
and he himself at some point also even indicated that. So, clearly, if it was a promise he made to God to build the Lord's house, he would go all out to ensure that is, achieved.
But why use taxpayers' money?
Well, it's a fundraising. They're using taxpayers' money.
In the budget, they said that the government will be giving seed money.
A seed fund. I mean,
yes.
the state is for the country, so the state should also contribute something.
No, but it's a promise he made.
He made that if I become president
to God. Yes. So that's it. If you make a personal covenant,
David made a covenant to build the Lord's house.
Yes.
And he was directed as to how to go about it.
But he's a king. And he's not a democratically elected
leader.
Let's
say that at the time they were kings, but now we have presidents.
That's right. And the difference is democracy.
Well, there was democracy at that time, was there not?
No, that was monarchy.
Monarchy, but still, combined with
they don't vote for their kings.
No, it's not the voting. It's not the voting aspect. In terms of how things were done.
Voting is what creates democracy.
The king also had the Council of Elders.
It won't work.
The Council of Elders who were from the various families, the tribes of Israel.
If you are if you have made a promise,
let me just go on and then
we'll talk about it later.
We'll deal with that later. Where you want to do scriptures against democracy.
This one is not scripture.
Early in the morning. Okay, so we're still on the front page of the Ghanian Times, and irate youth vandalized Owusu Bempah's church, and also police grabbed 32 suspected criminals during Xmas, and Yana and Danny's funeral set for tomorrow. So now that the Yana Abdullah's funeral is over, they're going to have Andani's. Then we can move to the next stage, and at the back page of the Ghanian Times this morning, it says NYA to offer 10,000 youth with job opportunities. Interesting here. Japanese embassy constructs culvert drains for Bethlehem. Well, this is not the Bethlehem that we know. It's just Bethlehem here in Ghana, somewhere across in Accra here. So that's where they've done that construction. But interesting, there's something that is written at the corner on the front page. It says, pastor killer to appear before court on January 8th. The same story that you referred to.
Yeah.
And then RFI backs banned Congo reporter. So that's what you have on the front page and the back page of the Ghanian Times this morning, Kwejo.
So let's settle for a couple of these stories. And it appears that the two I am interested in are all sort of religion related. That would be the National Cathedral and Owusu Bempah. Is there any other one you want us to?
I think we can look at President the NDC story, which is the Moneybacks hijack NDC.
You want to start with that?
Yeah, and you're looking at the issue there. You can read a bit of the story.
Sure. A couple of details here. This is how the Daily Guide reports it. Founder of the opposition NDC, Jerry John Rawlings, has descended heavily on the current leadership of the party for allowing a few characters in the party with financial muscle to determine the direction of the party. According to him, using undemocratic practices and financial means to steer the affairs of NDC at the expense of genuine lovers must not be countenanced. He said a few individuals who have constituted themselves into power brokers in the opposition NDC have hijacked it and are milking it dry. Right. He goes on pretty much in the same vein for quite a while. This was, of course, 37th anniversary of 31st December. And yeah, just more of that. Something interesting, though, this is a quote from him. He says, this has resulted in a situation where a few individuals have constituted themselves into power brokers who dictate the direction of the party by holding it to ransom with their financial strength. The vast majority of the party has become subservient to the dictates of these power brokers.
But what else can't money do? That's the question I ask. Money can do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter how strong you are, if you don't have money, sorry, you can't achieve the things you want to achieve, because that is the kind of society we've set up.
Yeah.
And they themselves are political parties. The mere fact that they don't want to be accountable, for which they would not strengthen the rank and file, the grassroots, ensure people, pay their dues and all contributions are accounted for properly, both to the members of the party and even in filing to the Electoral Commission as the law demands, this is what will happen.
Yeah.
So you have people who have money who will dictate the pace. So you may have a party executives, but individuals who day in and day out decide as to what to do and what not to do. Because if I put my money there, I would dictate what should be the direction you will go.
Indeed. And I suppose this highlights the irony, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because this is a social democratic party.
Yeah.
They pull their ideology from the socialist spectrum, end of the spectrum. And the concept there is that we must all be equal. So if our party has money, it should come from all of us.
Yeah.
We must all pay dues, we must all contribute, so that we all have equal say in what our party does. That's the theory, isn't it? So when you see, so in fact, when people get wealthier than others in a social democratic party, it is due to corruption.
It is supposed
yes. So I'm still sticking to the
alleged,
theory here.
Yes.
I'm sticking to the theory, because if you are getting rich as a result of being a member of that party, okay, or if you are amassing wealth, or if you have more control of the party than others because of wealth, it is seen as an act of corruption.
Yeah.
That is the theory. Okay. So to have a party like that, leading into their flag bearership race, saying that, well, we can't fund the flag bearership race unless those few individuals in the party who are rich enough come forward to stand for flag bearer and pay this much for the privilege.
300,000.
Yes, in fact, it was over 400,000 before it came down to 315 or whatever thousand. That you see the irony there, and you also understand why it would be somebody like former President Rawlings who would make such a comment, because he is the one who came along with the tenets of probity and accountability. And at least at least his public face is the face of that. Okay, so you can understand why he would see it as a travesty that the party is now falling under the control of those who can afford it. Because it kind of very sharply opposes what they are supposed to stand for.
I think that they just need to set up and begin as a party to put in place the structures of paying dues. And it's instructive to remind you of what you said on Monday, that because they do not want to be accountable to the people, and the people having a say in decision making, so that decisions are not meant or are not left to privileged few, that is the reason why they find themselves where they are. Because if I give you my money, end of year, there should be an AGM or there should be a Congress. When we get to the Congress or the conference, that is where you come and read the accounts. That 1 million people have paid their dues. Our membership is 1.2 million. 200 have not been able to pay. And this is how we disperse these funds. In fact, people who are working in the party office, they were paid so much. Our vehicles, you are able to do that. Donations that came in, who did they come from? And all the things in terms of ensuring that these funds are properly accounted for. When these things begin to happen, then things will work out well. Because you don't take money from the grassroots, you starve them until it's getting to elections. When you get there, you want votes. Well, you have to pay me to get my vote.
Exactly.
You understand? Because they don't feel that they own the party. They see it as a privilege to also make money. Because they know that those are the helm of affairs. If they come into government and they get there, they'll forget about them for 3 years. They'll come back the last year again seeking their mandate. So that's what happens with these things.
I guess you're right. And I mean, they have given themselves quite a big standard to live up to by identifying with social democratic ideology. Because social. So, if you are coming from a socialist ideology, it's all about the masses. If you are coming from a democratic ideology, it's all about the masses. So basically, you've picked the two, the two identifying words that completely exclude elitism. So for a party like that, you honestly, I mean, it is the epitome of disgrace to have elitism in your organization, to announce to the world that only the richest can be your flag bearer. It's amusing. Anyway, let's look at other things. Owusu Bempah.
Oh, yeah. I'm a Christian, Kojo. And I believe in prophecies. Yes. I mean, God calls people, he makes them prophet, he's able to reveal things to them. I believe that even in my home, if I am a married man, or you're a married man, or whoever is a married man, as a head of the house, as the Bible says, you also, in your communication with God, reveals things to you concerning your family, and you've got to be able to pray. And I always say that as a prophet, you ought to be circumspect. Let's look into the Bible and check the prophets that were there and how they did their things when they received prophecies. Did they just go and stand in the midst of the people and start telling the whole world, this is what has happened? You read some of the Chronicles where things needed to be told the whole nation. They did that. Where the prophecy concerned a king or whatever, they sent messages. There are times they went themselves and spoke to the people and said, this is the word of God concerning you. And when they got there, I don't think they got there in the midst of people and started telling them. See what happens to in some of the churches, Kojo. I mean, they call you out and then they start talking. Did this, well, I don't know whether it's true or not. That, and I do not want to question that because that is supposed to be their office, if that is true. I mean, that is if they are real men of God. I believe that there are certain messages when you receive as a man of God. When they come, you must exercise some wisdom. Some wisdom must be exercised. And in exercising that wisdom, you decide on how to communicate the message. God has revealed through you. And the same Bible says he reveals to redeem.
Yeah.
And if he reveals to redeem, he's revealed that you should pray over it, where you'll be able to, because in the same Bible, and I don't want to be quoting scriptures this morning, we're told of a king who God sent the prophet to tell him that you are going to die. What happened? He turned his face to the wall and he reminded God of all the things that he had done for him. In fact, the prophet did not even go far. He was sent to come back and tell the king that I've added some more years to your years to live.
Yeah.
You understand?
You know, and by the way, preach. But look, I don't want to base my contribution on my religious beliefs, because I'm concerned that whenever we have a conversation and a person expresses their religious beliefs, automatically anybody who doesn't share those beliefs disagrees with everything the person says, no matter how logical it is.
It is, yeah.
And I'm concerned about that. I don't want to fall into that trap, because I've got to tell you, and this is just on the side, personally, the way we see prophecies done, especially in this part of the world, I don't believe any of them are true. When people stand up in church and give prophecies, or they make a queue and then people are coming and they touch you and prophesy, I don't believe in any of that, because none of it reflects how it was done in the Bible, just like you said. So I don't want to go into my personal beliefs there, because look, in the Old Testament, there was a need for God to appear to man. That was the only way to communicate. So miracles, signs, wonders, you could see them all the time. After Jesus died, the concept is that you must believe in order to make it into the kingdom of heaven.
Yes.
You must believe, you must have faith. Faith is when you believe in the absence of proof.
And seek the guidance of the Holy Spirit.
So if God is going to be giving you proof all the time of his existence, then it's not faith. Then if you decide to be a Christian, it's not based on faith. It's just because you saw proof. You saw scientific evidence that God exists. Someone came and worked a miracle in front of you. So you have no choice but to believe. That's not faith. For me, you must choose to believe in God in the absence of evidence.
Yeah.
So that's my personal belief. But put that to one side. I only want to talk about this from the angle of common sense. And I will address both sides of this matter. First of all, Reverend Owusu Bempah. And then second, the reaction that has come from some of the youth.
The reaction, my goodness. These people, anyway.
Let's start with Owusu Bempah. So, you are a prophet.
Yes.
You want to prophesy because you have seen that some people are going to die. There are two ways you can do it. in public or in private. I want to explain why doing it in public has zero benefit. Yes, you might think in the short term that, oh, it will make people think you are great. But in the long term, there are no benefits. Let me explain. So you have told the world that somebody is going to die. What you have said is either true or is false, right? So that person will either die or they won't in the time frame you have identified. If the person dies, you will be blamed. You will forever be linked to that person's death. If the person doesn't die, you will be ridiculed. So whichever outcome, you lose. The only sensible way to do it is in private. Go to the person, tell them what you've seen, tell them how they can avoid it, because that is all part of what message God will give you as a prophet, right?
Yeah.
That is the only right way to do it, the only sensible way. Forget about what you believe, whether you believe in prophecies or not. The only sensible way to do it is in private, because if you do it in public, ultimately, whichever outcome, you lose. Now let me talk about the people who reacted.
But even before you talk about, this is what I see. Just as you said, in prophesying in public, just as you said, they feel that if you just go ahead and say, I've seen two big people going to die, who are those?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
But still, why should you even tell the whole world? Go and see those two big people and tell them what you've seen. Why are you telling your congregation?
Pray with them.
Yeah.
And pray with them.
What is the benefit of informing your entire congregation? That's the point I'm trying to make. That when you make it public, whatever happens, whether the prophecy comes to pass or it doesn't, you lose.
Well, for them, when it comes to pass, it makes them bigger.
So he's probably sitting in his house thinking that, if the prophecy comes to pass, I'll be vindicated. You won't. You'll be blamed. Anyway, let's come back to
the reaction
from the youth. Now, the videos are suggesting that they are Muslim youth because they were speaking some languages and making some comments that are associated with Muslims. And it has led some people to stereotype, again, that whole thing about, Muslims are violent. Please, I really don't want to hear that. The truth is that people are violent.
Human beings?
Yes. There's no need to ascribe it to one religion or the other. People can do silly things, whichever religion they belong to. So these are not the first group of young people to rampage in this country. Are they all Muslims?
No.
But let's come to them. And once again, two options. This prophecy that they have heard, which has made them so angry. The prophecy will either come to pass or it won't, right? Okay. So if you go and attack the man, will that, and this prophecy is actually true, that these people are actually going to pass away this year, and you go and attack the man who made the prophecy, will that stop it from coming to pass?
He said in his speech, he said they should pray. So why don't you channel your energies into prayer?
So attacking him will not stop the prophecy, right? Okay. Now, if the prophecy is false, then what's the point of attacking him? Nobody is going to die. So why are you attacking him? So either way, attacking him is silly. And I mean, these are some of the things that I think we should start just pausing to think about. Forget about what you believe in. We all have different faiths. I mean, look, that's fine. Whatever you believe in, that's what you believe in. But sometimes just stop and think as a person that what I'm doing doesn't make sense. Is there common sense in my course of action? This one, I don't understand. There's no benefit from rampaging, cutlasses. Look, people could have really got seriously hurt. Forget about the damage to property.
And to the extent that now it's the attack were on members of the church. And I'm like, what have these members done to you? What have they done?
Anyway. Very quickly, before we go to sports, I think we have a CNN story that I just wanted to quickly highlight. CNN has ranked Ghana 4th in their 19 places to visit in 2019.
Whoa.
And it's I'm particularly impressed. We'll bring it later, but right now, though, it's time for us to bring you sports. Thank you, Novan.
Thank you, too.